Stand up. So I'm an early fan of my next guest's newsletter that he writes with Adam Parkamenko, and I've been a supporter for a long time. Today's big stuff is blowing up, folks. The last few months, it's gotten so many new subscribers. I'm so excited for them, and I'm proud of myself for being an early adapter to it, but might be for reasons like this. There was a note from Santa Cuss, because, of course, this newsletter is filled with cursing. And in today's, it has this really crazy, nihilistic letter from Santa Cuss. I just want to read the opening and I'll bring my guest in. But it goes like this. Merry Christmas, you gorgeous son of bitches. Okay, who am I kidding? Everything fucking sucks and there's ain't nothing merry about it. So sorry to stick a big old lump of cold on your chimney. But we both know Orange Krampus is about to doom us for 4 years of candy canes up the keister. That's why I want you to do Santa Cuss a big favor and have a goddamn blast this year. Whatever you're doing, whatever you are, just really cut loose. Be irresponsible. Be reckless. If you're thinking about having an extra piece of cake or smoking a little extra grass or giving amateur drag racing a try, go for it because fuck it. Why not, right? Everything's going to absolute reindeer shit anyway, so let's get wild. Hell, half the elves are strutting around without any pants on, and Mrs. Claus ran off with Hot Frosty. The North Pole is getting weird this year, so Merry Christmas. Let's burn this motherfucker down. Sam Youngman is responsible for those words. He joins me now. That had me dying. I don't know how you do it at such high, hilarious quality every day, but today's big stuff. Really rounding out the year on a hit. Thank you for joining me. Good stuff.
Pete, thanks so much, man. Not just for the early support. You are very much a tastemaker, but for that excellent rendition of Santa Cuss's holiday greetings. We were going to throw in a holy shit, but we thought he covered it pretty well.
Oh, so good. So good. And I do have to ask, who is Hot Frosty in your mind there? Mrs. Claus ran off with Hot Frosty. Is there a parallel to our life, Hot Frosty?
Pete, I got to tell you, I'm getting ready to change your life. There is a movie on Netflix called Hot Frosty, and it's incredible. You're going to love it. In fact, I think I just made your Yuletide season.
Okay. Did you actually choose to watch this movie as an adult and enjoy it for real?
I absolutely did. As you can probably tell by my appearance, I get super fucking cheesy around Christmas. I absolutely love it. My late mother's birthday was Christmas, so we are Christmas freaks, and we go all out. In fact, as soon as we get done here, I'm going to the grocery store, and I'm buying hamburger meat and hot dogs for about 20 people who are staying in LA. And I'm going to have a Santa Claus's Christmas cookout and Hanukkah hoedown.
20 people who are staying in LA? What do you mean? Like people that you know?
Yeah, it's a lot like DC in that it's a transient town. A lot of people leave for the holidays. So I'm just picking up strays. Whoever didn't leave to go be with family is welcome to come over to my place, and we're going to do a cookout.
Oh, that sounds fun. I might come out.
Yeah, come on, man.
No, I mean of the closet, and then maybe I'll come over.
Yeah, I'll support that too.
Not even, by the way, Sam's, that's fine. Not even, he's unflappable, this guy. There's a lot to talk.
Brother. That's my wish for the holidays, is that everybody be themselves.
Yeah, maybe I'll just be gay for the taint week between Christmas and New Year's. I'll really gay it up just that time. And then I'll come back to just move around the spectrum at the end of the year, I think.
I know you're joking, but why do you watch Hot Frosty? You might be serious after that.
That's awesome. I can't wait. Now I definitely have to watch this show. Also, on a very serious note, you guys include the suicide hotline, and you just mentioned you're getting together a bunch of strays. The truth is, this could be a real lonely time of year. That hotline, by the way, 988. We need you guys here to laugh at our shitty jokes, is what Sam writes there. So don't go anywhere, but say a little bit more about this time of year not always being the best. And that is okay, by the way, but talk about that.
Yeah, look, man, this time of year is hard for people. I just mentioned my late mother, Christmas being her birthday. It's a hard time of year for me. It's a hard time of year for a lot of folks. I guess the thing I want people to remember is they're not alone and we can get through this together. The thing is, the holidays are, so I think this year is extra emotional for a lot of folks, especially folks who have to go hang out with red state parents and Uncle Billy Bob, who's handing out COVID cures on Facebook. I know that's a tough time of year. And I guess the thing I just want people to know always is that whatever they're feeling, somebody else is feeling it too. And this too shall pass.
I love it. I love that very much. You've been through a good amount in life. You've sorted a lot of things out. I know you're still on the journey, but I like being on it with you, man. I like the way that you talk and say things. I like the way that when you use words, they work together for my heart and brain.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate you saying that. We'll try and add in a few other body parts next year.
Yeah, thanks, man. I really appreciate how hard you try to just keep going and exceeding expectations, which is what you do every day in the newsletter because you just go through each note and that's the next one is funnier and more outrageous sometimes than the last one. But there is a lot to talk about. And I want to get right to some of the things that you've been writing about, which is just got to get your take on what we've seen with the influence of Elon Musk. Everybody, I think, knows about how he intervened in Congress as an unelected person. But as I'm reading about what happened in Germany with this horrific massacre at the Christmas market, Elon Musk came out and support that extremist right-wing white supremacist party in Germany as well as in Italy and anywhere that it exists. He is a huge supporter of him. So talk to me a little bit about how much influence he has and will probably continue to have because apparently dude's got nothing to lose, Sam.
Yeah, I guess not. It's not like he has adoring women in his life or like a fulfilling family life he'd rather spend his time on. I don't know what it's going to take. Apparently, that dude's got to grow a Charlie Chaplin mustache before people start seeing him as the Nazi that he is. But for me, I don't know, somebody who buys a social media platform and immediately frees all the neo-Nazis. I think that's strike one. Somebody is anti-Semitic in his remarks that he gets invited to go to Auschwitz to see what it's really like. I call that strike two. And then endorsing actual fucking neo-Nazis in Germany, I would say is a big strike three. So yeah, call it guilt by association if you want to, but I think the son of a bitch is a Nazi, and I think he just bought our country for less than $300 million.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man, yeah. I didn't even think about those other, or maybe know about those other examples of things he said. It's hard to keep track of the amount of crazy, extreme things that Elon Musk has supported, said, or on social media to his billions of followers or whatever it is. But he's also got billions of dollars, so I feel like he can buy anybody off, or he can primary any congressman. Like he helped elect Trump in a huge way, monetarily, and just in terms of the PR effectiveness that owning a social media site can do. So I worry about him and his money and his influence continuing into future years. There's no stopping this guy, it seems. Is there?
Yeah, I think there is, just because we've stopped guys like him in the past. Usually they're their own biggest enemy. I think he thinks he can buy anybody too, and I think there are probably limits to that. I know American self-respect is in low supply these days, but we've still got some. I love the idea of this clueless fucking moron thinking he can set up primary challenges to Democrats as if American voters are just so dumb and we don't know what we're doing until this big South African billionaire comes along and educates us. I look forward to a few years of watching Elon Musk eat shit in a very public and a humiliating way.
I sure hope you were right, Sam Youngman. I feel like somebody who I heard say this, we've gotten a little bit worse, all of us. Humanity has over the past few years. We just lower ourselves. And I'm thinking about the murder of the healthcare executive and the reaction, obviously, to that. And then this morning, I read that President Biden commuted the sentences of pretty much everybody on death row, but
Yeah.
three guys who I was like, okay, I'm against the death penalty across the board, Sam, but I don't know. Maybe I've gotten a little bit worse because two of these guys were white supremacist extremists.
Right.
One who shot up a synagogue in Pittsburgh, another who shot up the Charleston church. I don't say their names. You didn't say their names in the newsletter, which I think is great. And the other guy is the Boston bomber, somehow who got radicalized by his big brother, who did it for love of his brother. Bottom line is people are complex. I don't like the government putting people to death, but somehow maybe I got a little worse too. But what do you want to say about those death sentences being commuted and just our feelings around everything morally feeling corrupted? You stay up, you stay positive and sound, I feel.
I try. I would say I thought what President Biden did was a real act of compassion, a real act of mercy, especially when you had Trump people saying they were going to restart, quote, the killing spree of federal death row inmates. But I tell you, man, I'm like you. The three that were left there, I'm glad. I want to see them on live television pulled apart by a pack of wild dogs. You know what? And you know what? That's why you don't want fucking people like me deciding who lives or dies in those situations.
Right.
It's one of the reasons I'm anti-death penalty. When I was first starting out as a newspaper reporter down in Tennessee, I covered a couple of death penalty cases. And I'll tell you, It's one of those things where everything about it goes against logic. You would think it would bring some measure of peace to the families, and instead, what I saw were people who were unable to heal because the band-aid was just constantly being ripped off. Every time they thought there was closure, there was another appeal. Every time they thought it was going to be over, there was another interview with a newspaper. And it didn't achieve the ends that I think death penalty proponents say it does. So it really turned me against it. But like I said, if you want to kill Dylan Roth slowly and painfully for us all to watch, I'm cool with that. And that's why you don't want people like me deciding this shit.
Oh man, well done, very well done, executed.
Very nice. Very nice.
What were you
I,
gonna
I like
say?
the way you punished that. There was a joke there. I'd still under construction.
Longtime listeners know it happens once a decade. Okay, so I got to ask you. I have to ask you the other big question to get your rant on. Rant away at ABC News settling with Trump for $15 million based on the comments George Stephanopoulos made, rape versus sexual assault. As we've seen other companies now warn their folks as well, because Trump's going to try to sue them and get access to their internal emails and hammer them over the head, embarrassing and making it all public. I don't know what it is, but this is not a good sign. And I want to know what you think it means and if there's a silver lining for us smaller independent outlets.
Yeah, who knew ABC stands for always be crapping yourself? I'll tell you, it is bad, not just from the perspective of we've seen the corporate media for almost a decade now just crawl through broken glass to kiss Trump's ass and downplay his worst aggressions. So this is obviously a signal that's going to get worse, that we'll see corporate mainstream media pulling their punches. But you nailed it. For independent media, if ABC has to roll over and give the guy $15 million for his bullshit presidential library, then it really means it's open season on the rest of us. I don't think it's any coincidence that Trump launched that bullshit lawsuit against Ann Seltzer right after the ABC news.
Yeah.
I think the thing that drives me the craziest about Trump is people continue to believe if they just reason with him, or if they're just nice to him, or if they just kiss his ass, then maybe he'll stop being Donald fucking Trump for 2 seconds. It never happens. I don't know how many times we have to learn this lesson over and over again before it finally sinks through. And I'll tell you another thing, Pete. Democratic leaders better get this message, because we went through this after 2016 where they thought, hey, the message we need to send right now is we're going to work with Donald Trump. They ignored the hundreds of thousands of women who took to the street. They ignored the anger, the fear in their own party. And they gave birth to basically charlatan scumbag con artists like Michael Avenatti because the voters were so desperate for somebody who would fight back, somebody who would throw a punch, somebody who would stick to the values we claim to have during the election season. And I'm telling you right now, there's a vacuum, and you don't want another Avenatti filling it.
Yeah, no, you're so right about that because we really did get behind. A lot of people did. Anybody who hated and was terrified of Trump got behind Avenatti, got behind Robert Mueller, got behind Jack Smith, got behind even Merrick Garland in hopes that something would happen. But he got away with it all
Oh,
again, as he always does. And by the way, going back to Elon Musk, don't you think there's going to be a collision between Trump and Musk? Maybe it's even already started. Maybe all this trolling that MSNBC anchors liberals as well as Democratic congressmen is working.
I hope so, but at the same time, I think you've got to put Elon in a category more like Putin, the kind of person that Trump reveres, kisses ass, the Trump, right? There are people, like everybody in Trump's life he shits on, except for a select few people that you can tell could push a button and end him tomorrow. And I think Vladimir Putin's one of them, and I think Elon Musk is another. So I think if it was anybody else, you'd already see Elon getting disinvited from Mar-a-Lago. But because it's the richest man in the world, who also has we understand, a close relationship with Vladimir Putin, I don't know that Trump has the luxury of being Trumpy when it comes to Elon. Impulse control isn't his forte, so I guess we'll see.
Someday there will be a story written about the relationship between the three of them, the pressure each put on one another. We all know people in our lives, in our personal lives, your mother-in-law, people in your family, people at work, where one person says something to one and then they say it to the other. And this is how espionage works. This is how you develop an asset and develop cutouts. But it's between Putin, Musk, and Trump. These three of the richest men in the world, and certainly the most powerful men in the world, having talks, having relationships on a text chat, perhaps.
Yeah, it's the new axis of assholery, and we are totally screwed. I feel like Americans are going to wake up to this. Now, maybe I'm just being hopelessly naive, but I feel like Americans didn't want to be for sale. I feel like Americans don't like being told what to do. You saw Republican Congressman Tony Gonzalez say this weekend that Musk is like our prime minister. Fuck that. America doesn't have a prime minister.
Yeah.
We don't have a king. And I think if we start to remind the American people of that, that we actually fought wars to avoid having that kind of shit, then maybe they'll start to rally around their own freedom, their own independence. But again, maybe I'm being hopelessly
Well,
naive.
we're going to have the debate about autocracy and dictatorship and authoritarianism, and we're having it about oligarchies. We're having that debate. We tried to have it before the election, and maybe not enough people understood what it meant because people don't understand history, and they've had a pretty good run of democracy and don't realize what it's like without it. But I think there's no doubt, Sam, that the conversation has started and it's going to continue with newsletters like yours and hopefully podcasts like mine, or we will be bunkmates.
Yeah, I think that's right. I hear Gitmo's nice in December.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna feed you right through your asshole. I just want you to know that a tube of Ensure right up your butt. I'll do that for you if you're hungry and you can't eat because your mouth is too beat up from all the
Oh
torture.
man, that's really sweet. And also really unsettling. God, I hope it doesn't come to that.
I'm so
I'm, I'm,
sorry.
I'm way too soft for that shit.
I know, my God, we'll break down right away. Yes, put me to work, dear leader.
Yeah,
What
I'll
would you need?
swap out one red hat for another. I'll be Lindsey Graham inside of 30 seconds.
He's wearing a Santa hat in case you don't see him, everybody. I got to just ask you about the appointments that we're hearing, the continued controversy and conversation over everybody. RFK is on Capitol Hill trying to get people to support him. Obviously, Pete Hegseth is still somehow in the running. At least Matt Gaetz is out, and so is apparently the report on him. What do you want to say about any of these three, or maybe somebody that's not getting enough attention? Because all of them are so nuts, and that's
Yeah.
basically the design.
They're all terrible. The ones who are just regular billionaires who just want to rob us blind are like the best of the best. You could talk about Tulsi Gabbard for an hour, but the Matt Gaetz stuff, my God, it's simply horrifying. Not only was this man allegedly committing statutory rape and paying for drugs and prostitutes while from his literally from his Capitol Hill office, but you might remember he was traveling the country with Marjorie Taylor Greene warning about what Democrats wanted to do to your kids. And the thing that drives me the most insane is the most gutless, pathetic Capitol Hill press corps in American history didn't say shit. You think about somebody like Dennis Hastert and you wonder, gee, how did nobody know? Well, I think they probably did know and they just didn't say anything.
Yeah.
You add to that, and this is to me the craziest non Trump story from this weekend. Add to that that Republican Congresswoman Kay Granger has been missing for 6 months, has not voted since July, and nobody noticed that she has dementia and was in an assisted living home. Nobody noticed for 6 months with a slim Republican majority. I guess maybe we should have pulled some of the Capitol Hill reporters off the Hunter Biden beat, and maybe they could have noticed there was a missing congresswoman or, hey, a child rapist fucking in the running to be AG.
Yeah, those are really acute observations, Sam. I'm glad that you mentioned where the attention should be on Capitol Hill, not necessarily, but there's so much to follow. There's so much to cover right now. But yeah, I just heard about this woman, and apparently her family is saying her decline was very rapid.
Yeah, 6 months.
That she was
It was so rapid they couldn't tell the voters in her district.
Sam, over the past few days and weeks, Donald Trump has threatened at least three of our friends, good friends, for no apparent reason. He's gone after Mexico and Canada and now Panama. And maybe he announced that the U.S. should own Greenland. Here we go. We've seen this, a couple of these bits, specifically the Greenland bit we've seen before. How are we supposed to cover this? How are we supposed to react to it?
I think the way you cover this is by asking every time, how the fuck is buying Greenland going to bring down the price of eggs? How the fuck is owning the Panama Canal going to make milk cheaper? If that's what he wanted to run on and that's what we were talking about, then let's keep talking about it. 2016, email security was the most important fucking issue ever discussed in mankind, in the history of mankind. And then Inauguration Day happened, and all of a sudden we didn't care anymore.
Right.
I don't think that works this time. If Jackass wants to go around if he wants to do the next Louisiana Purchase just so he can hang out a mission accomplished banner and pat himself on the back, cool. I just want to ask him at every single turn, what is this doing to bring down the cost of groceries?
Yeah, we'll see if that's the reaction from reporters, much less Democrats. Before I let you go, Lieutenant, on a Christmas, what did you say?
We know it won't be.
Yeah, I'll say. Before I let you go, let's end on a happy Christmas note. You mentioned you lost your mom. It was your birthday on Christmas. Give me a happy Sam Youngman was a little boy Christmas memory. Do you have a good one you want to share?
Oh man, they're all been great memories. I was
Good.
very fortunate to have grandparents and a mom who loved Christmas and really sacrificed to make sure we had good ones. Honestly, my hope for everybody out there is that they have a Christmas experience like I did growing up. I feel damn fortunate. And Santa Claus, if you're listening, how about bring us all a little bit of extra hope and a little bit of extra democracy? We could use it.
I love all that very much. Did you sneak down and look? I say down like there was a staircase. I implied.
We were one story, but yeah. Yeah, man, I was keeping vampire hours even as a little kid. So yeah, I was always on Santa watch. I don't know how he snuck past me every time, but he managed to.
I love that. I love it for you and for us. Thank you very much for joining me. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's, Happy Taint Week, and I'll talk to you soon, my friend.
Love you, buddy. Thanks so much for always being so supportive and for having me on. Happy holidays to you and your family.
You got it, pal.